been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. Hi, this is Kurt with Axtreme-Guitar, and for this video I'm going to be working on the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. And as you can see, I'm using my 12 string. Just adds some nice flavor to the sound, and it's actually also convenient for showing you the lead part that goes on in the song towards the middle there. So we're going to go over all of those details in this video. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and tune yourself to standard tuning, EAD, GBE, and you can use this note The song is going to be starting on G, and I like to play my G with the two fingers on the bottom, and we're just playing our full G and then shifting these two fingers down one string each to the fifth and fourth strings. Same shape, it just kind of looks like a shorter or skinnier G. That's what I tell all of my students when I show them the C at 9 in this particular formation. Now, if you are brand new to guitar, this is going to be a little difficult because it's a aggressive song. You start out, we have the G to a C at 9, back to the G. Now I've slowed down the tempo, obviously, to help explain how it works, but that should be more or less the strumming pattern that you would use. And I'm going from, again, G, C at 9, back to G. And then we're going to jump to the F major 7. Now, F major 7 is one that looks a lot like the full C. The full C would be ring finger on the 3rd fret of this 5th string coming up, or the A string, and ring fingers on the 3rd fret. On the next string below that, which is the D string, the 4th string, that's the D string, 2nd fret my middle finger is sitting on. And then from there, I skip a string and go to the 2nd string, which is the B string, which is the 2nd string coming up, and it's on the 1st fret. Moving to the F major 7 will be slightly easier because it's not as much of a stretch, and you don't have that open string in between these top fingers and your 1st finger. So we're jumping from G, C at 9, back to G, F major 7, back to G. Now that's exactly how I would strum it if I were playing it. Now the nice thing about this song is it's repetitive as far as the chords go, and in what I've just shown you, the G to C at 9, back to G, and then the F major 7, you repeat that. So it happens first line, and then again the 2nd line, and then the 3rd line, we're gonna go to a full C, as I was talking about earlier when I was describing the full C compared to the F major 7. We're gonna go to the full C, and that's when they're singing, "But when I get home to you." So we go from C to a D. Now I strummed it exactly the way that I usually do it when I'm performing it. So, "Oh, when I get home to you." And now this is another challenge spot. We're going from G to not just a C, but a C7. So the C7 is going to be a regular C, and then you're going to stick your pinky on that open string. You recall I just mentioned that there's that open string in between these two fingers here. Now, that's definitely going to be a fun project for you to try to jump to in time as fast as they're going in this song. So on what we would call the G string, which is the 3rd string up, your pinky is going on the 3rd fret. So you have this, if you want to look at it this way, you have a D7 sort of shape right in here that your C chord is creating when you create a C7, because your C is shaped like this with just these two fingers at first. You do put your pointer finger down there like I had said before, but if we just focus on this part here, we're making a triangular shape here. So third, second, third, and it looks like a D7 or triangle. And then you make sure to get that pointer finger in there. So it gives you that seventh sound. But when I get on you, I need you to make me feel alright. And so that's, again, how I would strum it. So what I just went through there, both with the very beginning part that's exactly how you will play every verse. And now for the, let's call it a bridge, we have a B minor to start it out. And that's the part where you hear him singing, when I'm home, everything seems to be right. So we're going from a B minor. And if you're not familiar with the B minor, it's an A minor, and we move it down 1, 2, and we bar it over here. I'm not barring up on top of the E string on top. You can if you really want to. Again, with the bridge, we're starting on the B minor. So it's coming in directly after that last line where we did the, you know, I So we go from the B minor to the E minor. So that is quick changes, especially from a bar chord to an open chord. When I'm home, everything seems to be right. And then the second line of that bridge, we go right back to that familiar G. When I'm home. And we go to an E minor. C7 this time. Tight to a D. Tight, yeah. It's been and rolls right back into the verse chords. So it's an aggressive song, quick strumming. You basically just want to keep that strumming hand going nonstop. And don't worry too much in the beginning if you're not very good with picking up on strumming patterns. You follow the beat, then you can more or less evolve your playing into some kind of a pattern that really works well with the song. Now, we come to the section where it involves that little solo that goes on. Now, the chords that are happening during that solo are the verse chords, and you're just doing the first two lines of the verse chords. You're not going to the, but when I go, because the solo doesn't happen over that part. It just happens over the first two where you're doing the G to C add 9 back to G, and then you go to the F major 7 back to the G. Now, what is happening on that solo? Well, that one works actually really well with a 12 string as far as the sound goes. I am picking out the 3rd fret of the top E string here, and then I go to the 1st fret of the A string, which is right after it, 3rd fret to the A string, so we want to try that again. It's going 3rd fret E to 1st fret A, 3 on A, back to the 1st fret. Now, here is where we slide. We're going from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. And if you've never done this before, it'll take some getting used to. A lot of people will overshoot or undershoot or lose a note completely. It'll take some getting used to holding that note, keeping your finger firm, and sliding into that 5th fret. So we go again from the top. And then from here, you hear that, so that is a hammer-on. That's another one that's a bit tough to do, especially on a 12-string guitar. But you are hammering on, and then watch my strumming hand. I hit that A string once, and it's resting on the next string, getting ready to hit it. So how am I doing that? I am actually needing to bar this finger, not across the entire 3rd fret, just across at least those 2 strings. I recommend to all of my students that play with the song every time. Play with it. If it doesn't sound good, fine. It's going to get better if you keep playing with it. It's all about repetition anyway. So finally, for the last part of the song, the very end or outro, we're coming to that special ending that they repeat one of the lines, you know I feel all right, you know I feel all right, and a little guitar riff that they do there. Now, it's coming directly in from the so I still holding on to that G because you're going to continue that same line, but instead of jumping into the C7 every time, I'm just going to the C add 9. So, you know, and that's how I end it. I don't actually go back to the G. I end it just on a C add 9. I may not, when I'm performing it, end with an upstroke, but it does the job either way. So one guitar ends it with the chords in that way, and you end with a ringing out on the C add 9, and the other guitar does this. So I chose my electric guitar because it's not 12-string, and I can add a little bit of reverb just because it sounds nice in that particular ending part. Now that ending part, as I mentioned, is the other guitar, and what we're doing is we're taking our index finger and barring it across the top fret, the 1st fret of the first 2 strings, E and B. And then I'm going to stick my middle finger on the 3rd string up, which is the G string on the 2nd fret. And I like to use my pinky. You can use your ring finger, but I prefer my pinky. It just feels better for me. So you can experiment with that and see what you prefer. But you're gonna have to keep these fingers pressed down pretty good so that you can let the notes ring out. They don't want to die out part way through. And so, as I said, when the one guitar rings out on the C add 9, at that exact same time, the other guitar is doing this. So your pinky is going to go on the E string bottom, E string, 3rd fret, and you're going to just ring up and down each of the notes. So when 1, 2, 3, 2, open. 1, 2, 3, 2, open, 1st string, 2, 3, 2. And last but not least, because it actually should have been first, I saved this to show you the very, very first chord, which you're going to hear it and say, what is that? That's a weird sounding chord. It is called a D sus4. And so a D7 sus4, my mistake. So you have your D7, but when you have a sus4, you typically will move one of your fingers to another fret higher. In this case, it's going to be the bottom E string. Instead of on the 2nd fret, you're going on the 3rd fret. So I, just like in that last riff that the other guitar plays, doing the, instead of playing just a D7, I'm going to play the D sus4, and it's going to be the full chord. So I have my D7 shape. Let's just do the full shape. Now, let's stick our pinky down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, E string, and you can take your ring finger off. It's just going to hover. And that first chord is kind of dead. And that's what they do just before they get into the it's been a... So again, we have that D sus, or D7 sus4, kind of a mouthful. In formal situations, you would be told not to hit the A string. A is in the chord anyway, so I don't mind using it in certain situations. Then we just barrel right into the verse chord. So, thank you for watching my video. I hope it was helpful in learning how to play A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.